welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Kerrilynn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. If you are interested in finding out more of what UPRN has to offer, you can head to uprntalkradio.com. Find out more about the host and shows. There is something for everyone. It is not all high strangeness and paranormal. I hope everybody has had a good day. I don't know, wherever you are at, let me know. Today's like the first day of summer holidays for the kids here. So I had heard from my granddaughter's mom that she had a good last day of school, and everybody's adjusting because she starts grade 1 in September, which is kind of a big deal, for them to have that. So the busyness and the excitement that comes along with starting the summer holidays here. So I'm going to, folks, if you are in the chat and are able just to say hi, I'm not seeing you today. So if anybody is there and wants to make a quick comment just so we can see if it's working. And if not, we had that happen a couple of weeks ago when we had Nomar Slevik on. So we were just chatting about that behind the scenes. So maybe we put some energy out there. Oh, no. Super. Thank you for letting me know that you're here. Thank you. Hi, Julie. It's nice to see you guys. Kimberly Horan, thanks so much for saying hi and letting me know you guys are here. It's just slow loading up. Victoria, Astrolight Paranormal, thank you so much. Carrie Fast, it's nice to see you. I am counting down the days to Calgary. We were just routing our trip, the places that we were wanting to go and see on our trip. So I think we're leaving the 7th. So I will keep you guys posted as we go along. I'm going to pull our guest out quick today because I think that we just have so many things to talk about, and the time's going to go by so quickly. And I was really excited. It's always fun having another UPRN host on the show. I know it's just nice to be able to support one another. So author, researcher, paranormal storyteller, and host of the Gateway podcast here on UPRN, C.L. Thomas.
Hello, Kerrilynn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's an honor to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, thanks. I know that there was just some confusion this week, and I'm glad that we got it all figured out. It's wonderful. And I think that's, interesting. I had emailed my friend Joni. So I've had Joni on quite frequently. Joni Templeton Skinner, she's a forensic astrologer. I didn't know that was a thing, but it's a thing. Did you know that?
No. So wait, how does that work?
So she takes true crime stories and she uses the timestamps of the true crime stories and the what has happened, and she plots it as an event chart on using astrology, and it tells her everything. She's fabulous. She works with body recovery groups, and she's worked with RCMP up here and police down there, and helps solve true crime.
Wow. That's got to be really heavy. That's got to be a heavy field, though.
She loves it. So I always give her that shout out. So she's got a podcast that's called Mysteries Beyond the Veil. So it is, true crime astrology. Anyway, so she's doing. She's been on a number of times, and she kept warning us. She came on and she said July and leading up to July is going to feel crazy, like that. It is, unexpected. She said they don't even know what's really going to happen. It's just going to like buckle in like a roller coaster steady for the month, and that communication and weird things like that are going to happen. So I had messaged her and I said, I think that July has started a week early. Like it just seems like one weird thing after another was happening this week for sure.
I have my fair share of stories, that's for sure. I just moved, had a truck breakdown outside of St. George in that, the gorge. Well, you probably have not been there, but right before you go from I moved from Las Vegas to Wyoming. And so my
Oh,
brother was driving a truck with my stuff in it, and we were driving through the gorge, which is you go up and up and up and up. It's really cool though. It's pretty, but the truck broke down. So,
wow.
I got my stuff just today. Finally, he went back down and got it, but that was
Was it
weird.
electrical?
What was
Was
it?
it
What?
something electrical with the truck?
It
And
was.
I
How did you know that? It was a sensor in the truck.
Okay. So I know for a couple of different reasons. So my car broke down, and it was electrical. It was called the TIPM, and it's connected to the engine, and it controls all of the electrical for the car. So the TIPM went on my car, and it was when Uranus was acting up in astrologically, and so currently, in this time period for you, Uranus is acting up, and this is part of the crazy.
That is so weird. Well, the other weird thing is too, so I'm living on my brother's property right now in Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere, which is it's awesome out here, by the way. But it's not supposed to rain all the time. It's been raining every single day. Like I'm not even kidding, every single day. And so every night, here's the other weird thing. Every single night, moths are coming in. Like I will just lay down. You don't see a moth anywhere all day long, but I'll just lay down, turn on the light to read, and they're just coming out of nowhere, like big moths. They're hitting the
Wait.
ceiling and going crazy. It's really weird, and we can't figure out where they're coming from.
Well, she has said expect the unexpected all month. Like expect the unexpected all month. That is what she said. So Kimberly Horn is saying the worst place and it's dangerous too. And she's just
Oh, the gorge. She's from that area as well. Hi, Kimberly. Kimberly Horn. She's a great person. She is a writer too. She has this really
fabulous.
cutesy book called I think it's Hurry. Oh, Kimberly, please post it. I forget. Oh, I can't. It's like right there. But she wrote this really cute book about this young kid who has paranormal experiences. Like he has mediumship abilities. And I think it's like the first book I've seen out there that's just this cute. And he goes on little adventures, and it kind of teaches kids how to deal with those kind of abilities.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And she also, her and her husband have a
Oh, Kimberly, that's amazing. Okay, my friends that
Hurdy
are in
Gurdy,
the
that's it. It's so cute.
Hurdy-gurdy.
It's really cute.
Hurdy-gurdy is a little nerdy. Oh, my Lanta, that's amazing. Okay,
It's
so
really cute.
that's what I'm going to get my granddaughter. We will be looking for it.
The other thing they do too is they make paranormal equipment. Like they have this new oh, Kimberly, I'm so sorry. I'm like ruining it. I forgot the name of it too. My brain is like everywhere else today. But I've taken it into a ghost town. I'm writing this story on this woman that I saw at Goldfield Cemetery, and this kind of goes into my story as well. But I had her piece of equipment there, and I've been researching this woman that I saw. She's dead, of course. She's from like 1906. She has the wrong name on her tombstone. And so I had taken this piece of equipment. It works like a, I'm not explaining it very well. I'm so sorry. It has like 20,000 words in this thing. It works like an obelisk.
Right.
And it'll like go through different words and things when you ask questions. If a spirit comes through, they can use this box to communicate with you. And it's called an ANOVA. Thank you, Kimberly. And I've done tons and tons of research on this one lady, trying to find out who she is, her story, because I'm writing about her. And lo and behold, her name came up on this box. It's not on a tombstone or anything, and it popped up on the box. It was the craziest thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I'm going to push my chair back so that you can see, because you can't see what shirt I put on. I put a specific shirt on for this because cemeteries are my jive. I love investigating cemeteries. I talk about it when I'm at Paracons. I talk about those sorts of things. I love, especially the pioneer cemeteries, right? And I just think there's so many good reasons to do that, right? And for me, testing out new equipment and really understanding it. How does it work? The ins and outs. Is there things that can affect it. You get to do that in a cemetery sometimes a little bit more, right? So
Right.
this is my friend's It says Graveyard Babe.
I love that. I love that.
So, folks, I have my shirt on, Graveyard Babe. I bought my friends that investigate with me. We all wear them. We all have the Graveyard Babe shirts that I got for them. It's wickedly divine. It's this fabulous woman that lives in Brantford, Ontario, that has a small Etsy shop. So, if you want to check out some of her things, that's where it is. Kimberly is saying Innova 1. It's like an Ovulus, but it has a 200,000 word database instead of the Ovulus that has
only 2,000 words. Yeah. So, you just got to think that this box that she built, her and her husband, the Innova, I had it to test it, and I went into the Goldfield Cemetery out in Goldfield, Nevada. It's an old ghost town. And yeah, so long story short, I walk into the cemetery when I first moved to Nevada, and there was this woman. I saw this woman in a 1900 century dress. It was a purple gown. And so at first I thought this was like a reenactor or somebody that was in the cemetery for some reason.
Yeah.
And then I did a double look and realized there's nobody here. There's no reenactors or anything in this town.
Right.
So I ran over there and found out, I found her name that's written on there. It says Nana is the name on the tombstone. It was a pet name for a prostitute. She committed suicide in 1906. Long story short, I started doing her research because I started writing about her. Turns out that's not a real name. She's a runaway from Texas, and she just has this big story behind her. Her dad was like the brother of a governor from Louisiana, so she's from a really well-to-do family. They disowned her. It goes on, but her real name, which isn't on the tombstone, not many people would know about it. I had to really dig to find a birth certificate on this woman. And out of 200,000 words on this Innova, and that Innova does not pick up on internet or anything. It said her name, just like that. I was like, and I asked, I sat down next to her gravestone, and I said, I know what your real name is, but I want you to tell it to me. And I know it's not Nana. I know it's not what's on that tombstone. And it said plain as day, Anna.
So, okay, I have lots of questions now.
It was crazy.
I have lots of questions about this. Astrolight Paranormal. So, Victoria, did you see that the Innova 1, this conversation that we're having? And Kimberly, please put in the chat. I mean, don't feel shy about plugging it. We're talking about it. There's lots, and there's very few people that do make equipment that we can, that we want to plug, to be honest. And there's very few Canadian. Like there's a fellow from BC, but not a lot of stuff. There's not a lot. I know that there was a few that were starting to build equipment. So for a lot of us, we're purchasing from the United States that are up here, or the UK. There's a really fabulous female developer in the UK that I like.
It's nice.
Yeah. So again, the small independent company that I found on Etsy. And so I've just had a lot of fun with the stuff that she puts out. Contessa Martins, it's nice to see you. Carrie Fast, yes, it would be fabulous to meet up. I will let you know. I know that we're going to see my son. It will be the first time I've seen my son in a few years, actually, since he's moved to Calgary. So we, you know what, Kimberly, I think that we're supposed to be promoting all of that, right?
I think so too.
This is part of it. It's part of the community. And it's hard to find a community that is transparent and supportive. And I'm glad that you brought your people to the chat as well too, and that we're able to. I'm promoting, my friends and her T-shirts and stuff as well too. Stephanie Hinsberger, nice to see you here. Thank you so much for popping in. Okay, the questions that I had were a couple of different things. When you were in the cemetery, did your body give you the signals before the intuitive? Like, did your body respond to something that was shifting before you saw her physically? So
That
people, the see, hear, feel, taste, smell, our body sometimes is picking up before our brain kicks in that we're having the experience, right?
So the thing about Goldfield, all of it is pretty much haunted. Everywhere you go in Goldfield, it's a old town. It's one of those gold bust towns. I think there's less than 50 people that live in it now. It's completely
Right.
empty. And the people that do live there, they're transient. So they'll live in trailers and they might own, like, I don't know, the Goldfield Hotel, or there's an old bank there that another guy owns. He's only in town though for like maybe 2 weeks. So stuff like those are the people that live there. They're not like full timers. So it's a true
Right.
ghost town. But long story short, the whole town is haunted. So everywhere you walk around, I get pressure in my head and my ears start ringing really bad. It's almost like I call it the dial tone, or something, like an old phone dial tone. That's what starts happening.
Oh,
So
yeah.
today
Yeah.
was like that. A lot of times spirit will lead me in a direction. Like, I'll feel compelled to walk a certain way, and then stuff will start to happen. Like, I'm kind of led there. Um, the day I was in that cemetery, it was the first time I was ever in Goldfield, and I would just stopped. I was on my way to a different town, actually. And if you've ever, people that's ever been there, I think it's 95 or 93. I can't remember which route it is, but it's one road and it goes through all of these ghost towns all the way up into Reno. So you'll hit like Rhyolite, then you'll hit Goldfield, then you'll hit Beatty, and Tonopah goes all the way up, and they're all ghost towns the same way. So I was on my way. I think I was going to Reno for some reason, and I just wanted to stop. It was my first time in Nevada. I was only there for maybe a month. I had just moved to Las Vegas, and I went into the cemetery to look for this silly tombstone that said this guy died from eating paste or something like that. And I had the pressure in my ears the whole time, which is understood for a cemetery anyways. And I just looked, and there she was. It was almost as if she was beckoning me to come to her, to come find her story or something.
Yeah. And I feel they do. I feel that we get pulled for a specific reason, right?
Right.
I happen. It's a church. It's an old church called Old Hay Bay Church, and it's outside of Kingston, Ontario. And I had been working up there for years and years, and then I decided I just felt kind of pulled to go along along the old highway, and then I saw this sign, and then it just kept like pulling me to the next, to the next, to the next, and I landed at the Old Hay Bay Church, and made a pretty huge connection there, and it just led to all these other things that were meant to happen, right? With
Right.
the story of the spirit that was there, that I think that pulled me there. Which, do you feel that they can connect with us before we even land there?
I do. Yeah. Because I've had that happen many times. Like, I'll have dreams of things and
So
what to
that
look
collective
for.
consciousness, do you have a theory
Yeah.
about it?
I don't. But, I couldn't believe that a lot of the paranormal stuff, if people would just open themselves to it instead of being so intent on disproving things. And I get that that's important. It's an important part of the field too. But I feel like so many people are out there with the intent of, they want to get that great evidence to be on TV, or they want to disprove something, but they're really not experiencing the paranormal, I feel like. And if they did, I really feel like a lot of this is more about ourselves. It's about our journey. Like, I feel like a lot of there's the past stories that you hear, like such as this woman that I'm writing about. Her story has a lot of similarities to mine. So it's almost like kind of self-healing in a way to write her story and find out more. But there's so many times where I was on an investigation or something, and like Angel Michael will come through, or something else that relays to something else in my life that it's just it's part of guiding me in life.
Right. I find that happens all the time, weekly. Like even for my kids that have been on this journey with me, right? They'll go, "What's the theme this week?" When I, or I've done a really big event. What was the theme tonight? And I really do believe like they on the other side know what they're doing, and if we kind of surrender into that flow and understand that it's a 24/7 connection.
Mm-hmm.
When
Right.
when and it really does. I believe that our personal healing journey and accountability plays a major factor in the clarity, the confidence, the depth of the messages that we are receiving.
Right.
It
I
it
can I, I can give you an example of what happens if you want to hear it.
For sure, for sure.
There is there's a place called Armagosa Junction, um, and the old Amargosa Hotel and Opry House is there. And the first year that I was in Vegas, I got a call from some ghost paranormal investigators, and they wanted me to do a walkthrough for them on that property because they were getting ready to do a big investigation, basically. So I went out there and I spent the night in a little place called Tacopa, and it has like a hot spring and everything in there. And I hadn't yet gone to the property, but I just kind of asked Spirit, what am I going to see when I walk through there tomorrow? And, I did a little meditation and I got a bunch of visions of different people associated with the Armagosa Hotel. And one of the things it said was ignore the Opry House and pay attention to the railroad. So, I thought about that. I was like, okay. So I went the next day, and of course, there was this lady that was an opera singer who bought the place in the 60s. And that's kind of what they were looking for, this paranormal group. But Spirit told me before, pay attention to the railroad, ignore her. And sure enough, all of the evidence that they were catching like EVPs from men and like past workers. And these were all railroad workers. Many of them were Chinese or Japanese, Asian, one of those. I can't remember which one. Might be Chinese. They came over to work on the railroads in that area. Anyway, that's who was coming through, was those people. It wasn't anything to do with the lady from the 60s. And it kind of put a lot of the pieces together of what they were finding.
So were they open to that though? Were they open to hearing the outside? Okay, so steering them in a different direction and putting the puzzle pieces together. Were they open to hearing that from you?
Not at first. Not at first. They were so intent on doing the Opry House, like the actual Opera House. It used to be an old church before it was an Opry House.
Right.
So they weren't at first, but then I think when they started getting the EVPs and evidence coming in, they started going, well, wait a minute, maybe we do need to look at it this way.
Yeah. I wish more people would be, or investigators would be more open to shifting gears and not hanging on so tight to one narrative.
Right.
And I think that can trip people up, right? So they hear whatever the folklore or the stories prior to a place and they get very stuck on that one narrative. They're missing out.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of times too, this particular group follows the television crowd really hard. So I think, anything that they see on TV, that's what they're going to try to follow versus following Spirit or what they're getting in evidence. So.
Are you trying to not step in a big pile of poo right now? I know that.
Get over
that. Yeah. I had an opportunity to investigate at a particular place where a particular show had been a couple of days prior, and I was invited to go down from Canada down to this place, and the things that I were picking up were very far outside of what the regular narrative is, and Anyway, so I just get to talk about it privately. So I don't get to talk about it. I don't get to talk about it out loud as much because it was so far outside of the narrative. All accurate, all very accurate, but doesn't support the narrative. And so that was a big thing for me in understanding too with investigations that what does feel in alignment for me and what doesn't, and what is truthful for me, and what and working from that place, right? Like if it can't be authentic and transparent, then I tend to go the other direction. This point. It's where we're at. Exactly. So Kimberly, thank you for sharing this. Yes, or sometimes the story comes from the land itself and older stuff. Agreed, 100%. And we need to be very open-minded to all of those things. Anything railroad, I find railroad brings in all kinds of different energies. And Astrolight Paranormal, so our friends Victoria, she has also been on the show as well too, and she brought me to a place called The Station. It's a theater, and it's an old rail, like where you bought your ticketing, for the train station and stuff. So I did an event there last year, and we did an investigation. It was brilliant. But the railroad brings a lot of stuff with it, for sure. Hello, Lois Clark. Thank you so much for being here. We just jumped right into these. Hi, Madigan. Thank you so much for being here. I had one of the questions I wanted to ask you. So I know that I shared with you, but I'll share with everybody else too. The book, Dancing with Demons, I ordered, because everybody knows I try to order the book and read it beforehand, but it came like an hour before the show today. So I didn't have an opportunity to get through it. But I look at me, I've already dog-eared the first. I was like, oh, that sounds like it resonates for me. And I've got it dog-eared already. So yeah, it's, I'm looking forward to it. But in hosting podcasts, we hold space for other people to be able to share their stories. And we have to do so, in a way that is safe for people, because it's a vulnerable thing. It's very brave and vulnerable to share stories. So, what was that like for you to put your story out?
It was very hard. It was, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I have a puppy and she
That's
just,
okay.
Hold on a second. It was very hard. I may have to put her in the other room.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I don't know if you take breaks of any kind.
We do. So we do. We have to do at the top of the hour. We have to do the station ID again.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to drop out? So you drop out, and I've got questions for the chat. So you drop out and you take care of your pup, because she sounds cute.
Yeah, she's real cute, but she's kind of bad.
That's okay. I have one too. Her name is Nora.
I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm so sorry.
No, we're good. Nora is a pill. Okay, so I had this chat for you guys, or this a couple of experiences or questions, and I had asked this question earlier of C.L. about our body. So have you guys in the chat ever had that experience where your body knew something was wrong before your mind caught up? That was one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys in the chat. And the other question I had for you guys in the chat, so the word demonic. So do you think the word demonic is overused in paranormal video and content for that clickbait and, the energy that we put into it? So I want to hear your thoughts about those. Because you see it a lot, and a lot of the photos too, right, where they've got the big face with nauseated. I agree. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what that is. Like if we look at the words, even evil, heavy, dark, demonic, all of that, and everybody's perception of what those is or experiences are going to be so wildly different too. I think based on our own traumas, our own cultural background, belief systems, all of that play a factor. And for those of us that start reading Stephen King at a very early age, also plays a factor. I don't know if you could hear, C.L., the questions that I had asked.
I didn't. I'm so sorry I had to go do that.
No, please don't apologize. Our fur babies are our babies, right? So they need that attention. So Kimberly,
she's a 9-week-old golden retriever.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah, so she's like baby.
She's gonna have like the yummy belly and breath and all of the stuff, right?
She does.
So sweet. Well, my Nora is 5 and she's a pill. So the questions, these are the 2 questions that I asked for the folks in the chat was, have they ever had an experience where their body knew something was wrong before their mind caught up? So having a visceral reaction physically. And then the other question I asked folks in the chat was if they think the word demonic is overused in paranormal video and content and clickbait for those things, and what their thoughts are about that. So Kimberly was responding, demonic is very much overused. I tend to follow shamanic practices and I don't see entities the same. I agree. And Carrie is sharing, yes, my gut intuition has spoken. I have felt dizzy and nauseated in certain spaces and even decisions. I understand that as well too. And even I have found even though I'm having a physical reaction, having to stay grounded in using discernment, if it is the land, if it's a building or a property, or is it in spirit? Is it that, I forgot to, eat until 4:00 in the afternoon, like there's, using discernment in all of it.
It's kind of an interesting concept because I think a lot of it goes back to, fear too, whether people want to admit it or not. But especially with the paranormal, where you're investigating and people are in these places where they only heard the negative and the story of what can happen to them and stuff. I really think even if they don't think they're playing into it, I think a lot of that still plays a part in it.
In continuing that narrative by holding fear?
Yes. For instance, the Goldfield Hotel is one of those. People seen the TV show where this cinder block is shown flying through the basement. And so the story is that a child was dumped into a well there, or a shaft, I should say, an elevator shaft. I think there's another story involving a woman being chained to a radiator. None of the stories are true, unfortunately. None of the stories are true.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
The cinder block thing was totally staged. One of the people who staged that admitted it.
Wow.
To having staged it. So people still go in there, though, and say that, a cinder block moved, or this demonic pressure of a woman is coming through, things like that. I think, okay, are they really experiencing that kind of stuff? Because I know personally the stories are fake. So you have to start looking at, is this a topa? Is this energy that people are creating and to keep that story going?
That's right. And thank you for explaining, because just for folks that may not know what that word is, or, what that is, we can share that. I wanted to look something up to make sure that I was maybe doing the right.
Goldfield Hotel, though, I've spent so many nights in there, and the spirits that are in there, they're not negative spirits. They're really not.
Right. So there's a couple of things I wanted to bring up about that. Troy Taylor. I had Troy Taylor on the podcast, and I adore Troy Taylor. So and folks, if you don't know, Troy Taylor has had a series of he's had a health crisis recently. So if you could help him out by sharing his things, he did have a GoFundMe up as well too, and supporting him with American Hauntings. But he's very open about. I forget the name of the place in the United States that they have a story of a young girl that haunts that plantation, and there's no history of her. It never happened. But they
Louisiana?
I don't remember. I was just trying to Google it on the phone fast to so that I could do it, but I can't. I'm having a brain fart and not remembering it. But we used that when we were having this chat as well too. Like that it's not there. So does that help or hurt the industry if people are more vocal? Like, hey, we have this folklore story, but it is just a story. It's not real. Being more transparent and it's pulling people in, but you're not going to have that real experience, right? Like that it's not there. And can we create that experience if we're projecting fear out? Can we create that, not think about it? The weather can be expanding the beams in the house or the pipes in the house, and we're hearing the knocks that sound like footsteps and all those different things, but it's actually the house that's
right. There's so many other things that it could be, but on a spiritual level too, I also believe that if you're one looking for a demonic entity, I really believe you're going to find it. If that's the energy that you're going to create and bring forth, then of course that's what you're going to find everywhere you go. That's the other part of it.
Yeah. Where your intention goes, that energy flows, right?
Right. Yeah. Because I don't know, for me, like I had taken the Gateway program through the Robert Monroe Institute. And what that program is, it was started in the 70s. And the purpose of it was to tap into a higher conscience. And the government was using that program for Stargate. And it was to remote view into ships and things to see contraband, basically. But Robert Monroe took the program further and started teaching where you can connect with guides to help you through different things in life. You can connect with loved ones using this program. And all it does is it teaches you to get into what I call the spirit state, where you can, so you're leaving, what I'm talking about as a medium.
Yeah. That theta, like that deep meditative state.
Yeah, at a quicker pace.
Yeah.
So that's all that program does. But the thing he teaches, though, with it is to connect with spirits that are equal or greater than you.
Yes. Your intention matters before you start.
Mm-hmm. So there's this whole thing that he goes through, and he teaches it to you so that you know it off the back of your hand. When you go into that state, you've already got your bubble created. You know what kind of spirit you want to talk to. You're calling in your other guides to block any other entities that are lower than you out. So there's no way that you can be connecting with a demonic spirit over and over again like that.
So I had one intense experience, didn't call my guides in ahead of time, right? So that was my learning curve very early on. But when you are practicing in that space and you understand about your intention and stuff, you can go into those places and have like have the history of being or promoted as being very haunted, and I can sleep just fine. I probably snore loud enough to wake the neighbors up. Like I'm good. It just a whole lot. And I had set those rules and boundaries even here. Like I don't want them. If they are showing up early for clients, then they wait outside the bedroom. They don't wake me up in the night. Don't touch me. Don't talk to me. Leave me be until it's your turn. Because we have to feel like we have some kind of autonomy, right? Because if we don't understand the rules of engagement, we do get sick. I think we can get sick physically and emotionally.
I do too, yes.
If we don't understand those sort of rules of engagement. There was a few things I'd like to bring up. So Kimberly was also, that one makes me laugh a lot. That they hear a growl and maybe forget there's a stomach that gurgled, and they never think that maybe the growl is a spirit animal, like a cat. Yes, exaggerating shows for entertainment, and we need to remember that what we see on TV is entertainment. It is
Yeah,
meant
exactly.
it's for entertainment. It is not necessarily about data research or
Mm.
understanding or healing in any way.
It's certainly not scientific either.
Yeah, yeah,
I know there's, like, a lot of
and
arguments
that
about
needs,
that.
right? Like, and I think that's a big part of educating people as well too, if it's going to be scientific. And I don't think that we can do it completely scientific and repeat the same experiments in under the same conditions continuously. I don't
Right.
feel that we can.
Yeah. It's a whole Pandora's box, you know, with a lot of that stuff.
Kimberly was asking Robert Monroe if that is who the person
Yeah,
is.
he's, Robert Monroe is the one who started the Monroe Institute for remote viewing. Back in the '70s, he started the Stargate program basically with the government. He was teaching soldiers and military how to remote view, to be
Oh,
able to see,
yeah,
like, contraband coming over, or, I think the other one was, like, submarines that could have been carrying, nuclear power or anything like that.
so do you do remote viewing as well too? Plus receive like during dream time
I
that
do,
information?
yeah, I'm really good at remote viewing.
I love remote viewing so much. Remote viewing is so brilliant. I tell folks like when I'm doing events or even in sessions and stuff like that, remote viewing plays a big part of all of it. And it's super creepy, but in all the best ways. You know,
Yeah,
like I don't know. I love it.
it's I've always been really good at it. I used to do it a lot as a kid, and I just didn't realize what it was, right?
Right,
But mediumship for me, I'm very visual, so
right,
I see a lot of stuff. Like, if they're in I call them flashes. They're real fast. Like, I'll see somebody in full body real fast,
right.
before I ever hear them. And then I'll start communicating, and they'll communicate back. But most of the time, it's very visual, and so I'm able to sketch down what I'm seeing. That's how I create, like, spirit art. It's actual evidential spirit art of the person that I'm seeing, or that person that's coming through, I should say.
So, folks that are just listening, folks that aren't participating in or able to watch us on YouTube right now, it is www.clthomas, THOMAS, clthomas.org. And you talk about the spirit art on there as well too.
Yeah,
So, and I love that. I think the art outlet is a very important part of or creativity in some form for us when we're working as mediums. So you folks can check out, you do have examples on there, which I love.
I do.
Yeah, yeah, I saw. So please take a moment to check that out. Contessa is asking, do you feel that mediums now handle connecting with spirits better because they now know to set boundaries?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that one. I mean, I feel like it's talked about a lot now, but I don't know, I think everybody has their own. It
Mm,
seems like, to me anyway, that everybody has their own way of doing it,
mhm,
particularly a lot of people, and what I mean by that is, a lot of people use their religion as a means. Like, some people use, um, Archangel Michael, other people are using Wiccan aspects, some people are using, like, Native American spirit guides, so I'm not sure
I
how to answer the question.
and I have a thought about that with so many people that feel disconnected as well too, right? So you
Mhm.
have an experience. A lot of times it's grief or fear, whether it is a health experience or seeing something for the first time, or there's something. So you start seeking and you seek what everyone else is doing. So Yeah, a lot of people start with Reiki. So they start with Reiki and then they move to all the other things, right? And they move to all the other things. They buy a bunch of crystals and everything is shoved full with the crystals. And we just go from there. I'm not making fun and I'm not dismissing it. And we all do that. I personally feel like researching your heritage, I think that's so important right now. Where did your family originally come from? So understanding what their belief systems were and how that got changed when they were settling here, and how that got influenced by Native Americans, and how things shifted when the different cultures got together. So really understanding your background and leaning into that. And I think that makes a huge difference for us in our ability to tap into the other side, and who we call on when we are working with ancestors and spirits and energy. I don't know.
Very true.
That's just my thought. And how I've taught my kids as well too, what's important that way. And the discernment. Because if you really understand how you're receiving and leaning in, you're not giving your power away to somebody else who says that you're doing it wrong, but you know that it's working for you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm all ass backwards when I'm working. My left side is my female side, or my male side, sorry. Like my left side is my male side and my right side is my female side, but apparently that's the other way around. But hi, Jackie Collins. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And again, our personal healing, I can't stress that enough. Our mental health, our physical health, all of those things. And I think it matters in where we're putting ourselves, what kind of experience we're putting ourselves into, if we are not on top of those things, right? Or needing to be.
Absolutely, yes. That is so important. It's so important. How many cases do you know out there? I know for me personally, I've received so many different people asking for help, and then you start looking into their story and or their claims of paranormal activity, I should say. And they have so much negativity in their life. There's always like constant drama and just different things that go on. And it's like, you're going to have paranormal activity like that because your life is such a mess. Like, right. I just feel like it's so important.
And that's hard. Those are hard conversations to navigate when you're asking someone to have accountability and trying to stress to them, like, if you are extra sensitive and have these traumas that have not been dealt with, some of the poltergeist stuff is actually stuff, it's your stuff. You have created the poltergeist experience.
Right.
And still having to help support them. It's very hard to navigate that. And not everybody's ready to take accountability.
Yeah, they all want to know, they all want that quick fix. We live in a society that's a quick fix society. We have drugs for everything, etc. So when it comes to cleaning up their own life and having paranormal activity, they're so quick to say, oh, can't we just get an exorcist in here? It's all of a sudden it's a demonic entity that needs an exorcism, and that will fix everything in life, right? Whereas instead of looking at, well, maybe I need to clean up my own life first and then deal with, I don't know. It's all connected.
It is. For sure. It is all connected. Shadow work. Exactly. Kimberly is saying, yes, shadow work, baby. Has also shared, I think we are always on a development type of plane. I personally went down those rabbit holes, but then I find myself going back to what resonates in my heart. Exactly. And what resonates for us isn't going to be the same, and it shouldn't be exactly the same as anybody else, because we have a different plan. Everybody's got a different plan and different experiences, and we've made different choices to get us to wherever it is that we're supposed to be landing, right? So
right.
It's not ever going to be exactly the same. There you are. Hello, James. James saying good evening. I've been enjoying the conversation during my drive. I have to jump out. There was a theater in Toronto that was promoted as haunted, but it was discovered to be false as well. I know which one. I've talked about that on a podcast with Laura Lee. I don't know if it was when we were doing the other podcast or when she was on this one. So we did talk about that theater and it was promoted forever as haunted, and it wasn't.
It's a thing, you start talking about paranormal stories and it's going to draw in tourists and stuff. So there's money to be made.
Wow.
But on the flip side of it though, there are a lot of theaters across the US that are haunted for some reason.
Oh, well, so it's big emotions, right? Theater's going to have big emotions from the stories that they use, and depending if you believe that words are spells, the words that they use in the things that they do there, and then the emotions that it evokes in the people that come to it, right?
Yeah, I think, if you look at the time periods too, a lot of them are from turn of the century.
Yeah.
That's when the talkies came out, and that was around World War I. Yes.
They all have fires. Yeah, it's a lot. So I that was one of those things that I had. I lost track of our question. So in that media, so the sensationalizing things as well too. So do you think some locations hold on to the emotions and people interpret as dark or where it's not necessarily intentionally harmful? Like, so that this is continuing this, what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And, a lot of places are like, I think that most of the paranormal places that we investigate over and over again, a lot of those have been sensationalized. And, every time, like, okay, Bell Witch Cave. I'll throw that out there. I spent a night in Bell Witch Cave out in Adams, Tennessee. The cave is kind of weird, but we didn't get growls or I spent all night out there. We didn't get to growls or any of that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's one of those places that has been over sensualized. It's got, it's got the whole tale behind it. One of the first ghost stories in America came from that cave. But I feel like everybody else that investigates there's been thousands of people in this cave investigating it. So what are they doing to draw that energy out? Right? Are they leaving stuff? Are they opening doors? So the haunting that's in there now, is it necessarily the haunting from the Bell Witch times? I mean, we're talking 17th century.
This is it.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like the paranormal TV and tourism, it's been, it's great because it opened these conversations to begin with. It's really taken us to the point where we can discuss the paranormal openly. We look at things differently now. We have more mediumship that can come out and proclaim that they're mediums. It's become more of the norm now. But on the flip side of it, because of the entertainment side, I feel like too that people on a Friday night, they'll go out and investigate a place like the Bell Witch Cave on a Friday night. But they're paying for that experience. So are we fulfilling that experience? What are people doing to fulfill that experience for them? And I feel like a lot of the paracons and, they become like almost like a circus. Like a lot of these paranormal paracons, you go and it's like a circus. There's like mediumship performances and table tipping and all kinds of stuff.
I love all that though, and I do it.
I do too, but I do too. Don't get me wrong. I'm part of a spiritualist church here, but I'm just saying, I think we've lost a lot of, I think we've taken out a lot of the paranormal too, because so many people are just in it looking for that one experience.
Right. And so I think that's important to come back to. What is your intention for wanting to do it? Is it for the quick adrenaline rush? Is it to be helpful to spirits that may be stuck? Is it for your own personal growth and understanding how you're receiving information, how you use that for yourself in your daily life? Again, if it's 24/7, so being truthful about what your intentions are and why. I love table tipping too. I love table tipping.
Yeah, that's a really old way of communicating with spirit that goes all the way back to early days of spiritualism.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah. When I do the seances, I did one last night actually at my house. So when I do the seances at the house, I always make sure I start with like a poem from 1902 and then use all of the things that they would have used during that time period and then move up, right? To having like the regular, the newer paranormal equipment and giving them the opportunity to try the things that they see on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because, people want to try an Estes method. Everybody wants to try the Estes method as soon as you have those things.
Yeah.
Those things available. But
the other thing to consider too, there's a lot of people with attachments and things too that they don't want to be cleaned because they feel like that gives them abilities. That is a thing. And you have these people going into locations and they're using attachments and things to have paranormal activity. So what kind of doors is that opening in these places?
Yeah. I don't know. And you can't, I don't know. I've been to one particular place repeatedly, and the family that is in spirit there love people. They love people being in their home. They just want to engage. And another building that I had frequented quite a bit, it was a hit and miss. And I really do believe it was, not liking the energy of these people. So we're just going to sit out quiet tonight and not do a bloody thing all night. Right. And you can't get mad at that. It's the potential. So I don't know. I have fun regardless, and I always make sure I have great snacks. So
great snack.
Yeah, you have to have snacks because for the most part, like you said, you sat in Bell Witch all night and there was nothing. So
it was such a miserable night too. It was rainy and cold, and I had stepped in a puddle, so my feet were wet.
Well, this is the stuff that people don't talk about, right? Like for the most part, if you get one good piece of evidence, and a lot of times, I don't know what it's like for you, but I know for me, that evidence piece doesn't come until after the fact. You're not even aware that you picked something up on a recorder, and a lot of times it's on the recorder. It's not on a visual. It's not on anything else. And and it is after when you're reviewing everything that you find that you got that one nugget, but you had sat there for however long, getting nothing.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reality. That's the reality of it, right? But again, those things are great practices too, and what kinds of questions. And I think that's also something that needs to be talked about, like people not talking to the time period appropriately, right? The time period. The language that they're using or the how they're directing the questions. You may not be getting a response because they don't know what the heck you're talking about.
It's very true. The language barrier is a big one. A lot of people don't realize that, particularly on the east side of the country, depending on where you're at, like parts of Florida only spoke Spanish. Louisiana only spoke French as early as 1800s. Parts of New England, they spoke French. So, a lot of people you're right. A lot of people don't take into consideration the language barrier. And even how to interact. A lot of spirits don't even know how to interact with equipment, for instance. There was a location I was at with a friend. We went to Chloride, Arizona, and nobody's ever been out there to investigate. We were the first ones out there. And this house, it was a train, the old train conductor's house. So we're talking like 1901 or something like that. Beautiful house in a ghost town. The guy said it was really haunted. So we're sitting there and we're not getting anything, nothing. And so finally, my friend, he goes, well, maybe they just don't know how to interact with this stuff. And so he started explaining it to the spirits, and then all of a sudden, the REM pod starts going off, and we had like a cat ball that starts going off, and we caught a couple of BVPs, but he had to
Right.
explain.
Yeah. And I think that's appropriate, right? That's appropriate. Like they wouldn't understand what you're needing them to do or what. And not every old house is haunted.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just because
So
it looks like it might be doesn't mean that it will be.
you're exactly right. And the ones that are, I always question how much of this paranormal activity is the investigator bringing in on themselves.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I have been to a place that is well known, and a particular medium has said that they've cleared everything. But I went in and was having an experience and was seeing, because I was seeing it right there, and so that's another thing that I would never do, and open to hearing your thoughts too, is saying that you've completely cleared a place of spirits, because can we really do that? Can we clear a space of spirits?
I say yes and no, because I've cleaned some houses before, but they weren't human spirits. There's a difference. So the
Exactly.
clearing I've done was more of negative energy, and
Yeah.
what you do is you push out that energy, or you can do it with elementals too. You kind of push them out.
Yep.
But human spirits, if they don't want to move on, what can you do, right?
It's therapy. It is
Right.
therapy for spirits, and it sounds funny, but it's true that they're needing that as well too.
Yeah.
But I think we don't necessarily know what the people that are in that house are going to open up or do, or the next person that comes along is going to open up, or dimensionally the layers. Did we just clear one layer but not all the other layers? I think it takes time to figure all of those things out. So
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and it's tricky too because it's also based on the person's religion, right? So if they were Catholic and you're trying to clean them out using Wiccan, how can you do that? You can't really reach that spirit because they're not on board with that.
yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of it. It just gets sticky when you're working with a human spirit.
And being able to stick it out, right? And it's not always that quick fix.
Right. Exactly.
Not always. Kimberly is sharing, I get hugged a lot. That's fun. But yes, in some locations I've been scratched or bruised a few times, but it's part of the paranormal process as an investigator. But it's rare, really. Yeah. And then, and we all want to, we can't discount the personal experiences, because that's still evidence.
Mhm.
Hopefully it's backed with other things, but that's evidence as well too. They're also sharing, what I have noticed on this trip back home and spending my time in the mountains away from people is that the mental chatter is gone for me.
Yeah, it's weird once you get into a quiet place. I've just moved into the middle of nowhere where now I wake up and I hear birds singing every morning, and it's just quiet. You can see every star in the sky where I'm at. It's great. You can almost see like the galaxy and all that stuff. But I moved from Vegas, and I feel like the first week I just been kind of de-escalating from all of the noise and just life, all of that. People revving up cars and motorcycles and just all the daily noise that you don't realize you're hearing.
So I feel though that's super important for personal healing, and that you're not allowing yourself to get distracted. So it is giving yourself that time to peel back layers and look at layers and really discover what works for you and what doesn't, and practice putting all that into place. So I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. Oh, so I wanted to, this again, this was like the very first question that I had wanted to ask you, and I hadn't, or the second question. So your show, when through the Gateway podcast, right? You ask like what comes after the evidence, so what comes after, right? So
Right.
exploring what comes after haunting. So what came after for you? Like Dancing with Demons talks about a particular experience over a 10-year, was it over a 10-year period
No, it was
for
10
you?
years ago, longer than 10 years
10
ago
years
now,
ago.
but
10 years
yeah.
ago. Right. So, what came after all of that for you? How because it's life altering when you have these experiences so emotionally, spiritually, as a researcher. How did that,
So
you know,
it's weird. So, I grew up with the paranormal, like I told you, but that house was the first time I ever feared the paranormal. And incidentally, it was also the same time that some of the paranormal shows started coming on television. I think Ghost Ghost Hunters had just come out, and they were doing house calls and things like that at that time. But all of a sudden, you had all these people jump on board to be paranormal investigators, and that's all they wanted to do, that sort of thing. But I feel like for the last like century and a half, that people have been going out and investigating and gathering all this evidence. So they have all this evidence that they show on television or in their personal, in their groups, I guess, or paranormal groups. But now what? So everybody has all this evidence. We all know that there's something paranormal out there. There's something beyond ourselves that exists. No one can deny that. There's just too many experiences out there, too many people that's witnessed things. Um, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
what's next? Do we continue trying to disprove this stuff, or do we move forward and try to develop ways to communicate with the other side?
Right. And do you find it's a rabbit hole that leads you to this next? Like when as a researcher, even working as a medium or doing investigations, I'm finding I've had to look at the things that are uncomfortable for me and stepping outside of the box because it's all connected, from cryptids to UFO to,
Yes.
like,
I think there's a reason for that though. And yes and no to your question
yeah,
about that.
share what you feel
So
comfortable sharing.
I feel like, yes, I can jump in rabbit holes because I'm always looking at the latest. Like I just watched a documentary on that just came out about the government um, coming out with all of the UAD stuff or UFO stuff. Have you
Right.
seen that documentary? It's pretty good. I highly recommend that. But yeah, for me, this is a spiritual journey for me. So, and that's what I came up with coming out of that haunting. You got to understand, like, I was like, I almost committed suicide because of this haunting that I was experiencing. I came down with stage 2 cancer, which I truly believe part of that is from that haunting. I'm not saying that cancer is caused by paranormal activity. So, listeners out there, that's not what I'm saying. For me, in my case, though, with all of the stress, energy is energy. And so that negative energy affected mine enough to where I developed stage 2 cancer.
Yeah.
Um, this whole thing though, I believe that was a wake-up call for me. It's made me a better person. I'm out to help people now. But the paranormal for me, it's a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can put it.
Yeah. And I find a lot of people start from that place, whether it is health related, a loss of a loved one, there's some impactful life altering experience that opens them up to spirituality, and the paranormal comes along with that, right?
Mhm.
I don't know, as like you do a lot of spirit art as well too. So I'm not sure, I read how the sessions work for you. So even for me, having a lot of Catholic people would come for sessions, especially at the beginning when I started like 20 years ago. But they were like, it was so secret. They couldn't let anybody know, but they were very open, very open to it. And then, then later, taking courses and wanting to tap into it themselves and stuff, and I find more people now, I think, are a little more open about wanting to have the experiences, open to the spiritual side of it. And you're right. The spiritual aspect, I think, is huge. I think that when we step into this, and are having accountability, you understand that we are meant to be of service for the world around us, for the living people, the animals, for the people in spirit. We are meant to be of service. And again, that comes into where the heavier energies are, what those frequencies are. And you can see where they're lower, then the intention is different.
That's exactly right. Yes. And it's become more for me about how to work with spirit. So I always say now that it's really not about me. It's about the spirit. It's doing the work, basically. So letting spirit coming through with the message so that I can relay it to the sitter, and helps that sitter in some way. And, usually the message is that there's hope.
And love continues, and forgiveness can happen at any point in time. All of these powerful messages that help people move forward, for sure. Wow. Yeah. In moving forward, moving past here. But that's where our personal healing takes place, right? Everybody should sign up for therapy. Everybody needs therapy. A little bit.
I highly recommend. Yes,
me too. I talk about it quite openly all the time. And understanding, because our body stores up the emotions attached to experiences. And so even when we're physically sick, it's letting you know where the lessons are that we're needing to have accountability for. And when we lean into that, it really helps us grow. And I find too, I don't know, you can let me know how you feel, and anybody in the chat as well too, when you're taking accountability and you're doing all of this work, you tend to like people less. I mean, you love people and you want everybody to do good, but you want to move to Wyoming and just be able to see the
yes,
have like the next door neighbor be able to pass you toilet paper through the window,
right,
like that.
Exactly.
You want to pull back. And I don't know, I think many of us that are in this place of not leadership, but teaching and inspiring people in whatever way it is that we're doing, have very similar stories, dysfunctional childhoods, traumatic things that happen along the way. And we remember at some point in time that we all come from that same source of love, and that same source of light. We all come from that same place, and then we start remembering more. And the more that we remember, the more healing we take place. And I don't know if you feel the same, or if you have thoughts about that.
The same way. Absolutely. I mean, look how much better our society would be if everyone just took a few steps to heal themselves. We would have a much better society right now.
Yeah.
A much happier one.
I know with when we are taking accountability and we are more grounded, we're more clear thinking as well too. So that comes back into that discernment, and using discernment when we're doing investigations, and discernment when we are leaning into what we're picking up intuitively, and where that is. Because I mean, I certainly have been places where the word demon is popping up steady. Demon. I had my daughter, I have 3 boys and 1 girl. And my daughter was with me, and she like grabbed my arm and she's like, "Mama." And I went, "It is a dude who's an arse and doesn't want us in his space. It is not." So we're just going to ask him if, he needs us to leave his space. And then we're just going to say, okay, we'll honor and respect that, and we'll back out. But you don't need to be tossing the demon word around, because, you're not. and what is it, right? And what is it? Let's define what a demon is. And a lot of cases too, that I've come across personally, where it's unhealed spirits that are not at rest on the other side. And so the emotions and the energy that they bring into this space makes the living people feel uncomfortable. So it's the first word they grab onto, because it's what's been pushed as a narrative through media. And I don't know what do you have that experience, or what are your thoughts about that as well?
I think, yeah, I absolutely believe that. There are many cases out there, like famous old cases, not newer stuff, but famous older cases. Like Hans Holzer, for instance, I write about him in the book. He had a case that was very similar to mine, and it was in Tyler, Texas. It was with a young boy in this family. The boy seemed to be targeted. So for whatever reason, this boy was the target of this haunting that Hans Holzer investigated. And this was the case that he writes about after the fact. And he says that it was the case that broke him because he couldn't help this boy. So this boy was like oppressed. It happened, I think, in 1960s. And the house, it had the flies, all the typical paranormal stuff. But if you move past that, the typical story of a demonic, right, and get down to the lesser, this boy was being oppressed physically, mentally, all of that. Hans Holzer left. He lost contact with his family, and then he gets this letter from the sister of the boy telling him that he ultimately committed suicide, and he was never able to get over that haunting. So he was haunted for the rest of his life, basically. There was a show on TV that came on, and I don't know how true this story is now that I know more about this individual who led this investigation, but the story is still good. So I'm still going to tell the story. There was this woman who lived in I don't know where she lived, but she had a young child, and she was being haunted very similarly to what this boy in Texas haunting was. And long story short, the investigators went in there. Cindy Kaza specifically went in there and told this woman that she needed to take her own power back. And so he had her go and stand and actually not so much go against the spirit, but kind of challenge it and tell it, this is my grounds. But what she was actually doing was teaching this woman to own her own power, to take responsibility, take her own power back. So, and that just, I don't know, that's so much to it. You have to take your own power back. That's where I was going with earlier in the conversation about how people just want a priest to come in and exonerate the place. Right. I think it's up to the individual to stand in their own power and take back their own peace. It's such a big piece of it.
I agree. And I find there's a slippery slope for folks who are opening up and having experiences all of a sudden as well too, because they feel like they need to allow everything in, and we have autonomy, so we can have boundaries. At nighttime, you're not allowed to bug me. I'm not open up to it. I'm working right now, or right now I'm just at the hardware store buying a bucket. It's a no-go. We need to. Yeah, we don't have to be on all the time. We still have to have our human experience and be doing things as well too, even though we can be tapping in. And yeah, there's all of that. I agree, Kimberly. Stewardship is a great word, and we are in stewardship. Carrie Fast was sharing, if you read closely in the Gospels, Jesus did not always remove demons from people. He removed an unclean spirit and a familiar as well as demon. It's all different energies. Yeah, I see that too, where everything.
That's a really good point.
That it's all different energies. Even and elementals are its own thing as well too. And the more that we lean into understanding energies and frequencies. We understand what we're tapping into because each frequency is its own thing. Like a tree has its own frequency, and I always use the example, like when you have a big feast of a meal and you're tired after, and you're laying on the couch and your eyes are half closed. You know who's kind of walking in the room because you recognize that family member's frequency. You understand the vibration of that person. So the more you start working with frequencies and understanding, there's less fear with things too, right? Like we understand what we're tapping into and we have less fear of things.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm not afraid of most of any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah, I'm scared of heights. Which I need to get over, which I do need to get over, and I understand that's a thing, but or stairs with no risers, stairs that I can see through with no risers. Oh, my hands just got sweaty just saying it.
Just thinking about, I'm afraid of bugs.
Really? Oh, like June bugs. June bugs are scary. Like June bugs are, they fly right through. They're huge. Mm.
I have a funny story that's kind of off topic on June bugs. So I used to live in Nashville and I had chickens.
Oh, I love them.
I had 7 Rhode Island red chickens, and
nice.
One summer, those June bugs all came out. There was hundreds of them flying all over the backyard. It was crazy. And I just set the chickens out. By the next morning, there were no more June bugs.
Oh my gosh. I see it. James, if you're still listening, there's another layer to why we should get chickens.
You should absolutely get chickens.
We were just discussing today how many chickens we should have. I wanted to ask you about fear. I know I don't want to keep bringing it about fear. I love that story about chickens too. And it's so interesting thing. I had Chris McKinnell, Ed and Lorraine Warren. So I know that it's a lot of controversy going on with Ed and Lorraine. It has been for a long time, but currently in the news again. But I had Chris McKinnell on. He's their grandson. He was on a few weeks ago. And like the very first question, I was like, I just really want to know if your grandma had chickens and if you have photo evidence. And he's like, she did. I'm like, she did.
They had chickens?
Yeah, she had chickens, and so he has these photos of her with these chickens, and she adopted them. It was like these stray chickens, and then she ended up with these more chickens, and somebody else brought more chickens, and she had these chickens, and I'm like, see, you know, regardless of what people may see or feel, she was extra sensitive in some way and was tapping in on some level, and we're all meant to have chickens. We're all meant to have animals of some kind and being, again, in that stewardship. Right?
The property I'm on right now, it's my brother-in-law's property, and they have 17 chickens, I think. They have a lot of chickens. So every morning I have a bucket of fresh eggs. It's really cool. And they're like green, blue, brown, and white. So they're gorgeous.
I love that. That's how I grew up. I grew up that way. On a hobby farm, and you know, that's the goal, is to get back to that place. I wanted to ask how you learned to trust your intuition and to trust yourself after that experience. How did you move forward and not allow fear to dictate your story and dictate your experience moving forward?
It was a long, long time. It took a long time. So it was a little bit of counseling. It was, I had taken some mediumship classes through some people with Lily Dell. They really helped me in the mediumship phase, because I was a little bit fearful for a while there, to communicate with the other side. They were very helpful on that, on how to move forward with that. Yeah, I've taken like I said earlier, I took in the Monroe Institute Gateway program, which I highly recommend, because it really teaches you how to tap into energy and how to control it. So one of the things that the Spiritualist Church teaches with mediumship, I know there's like a lot of mediums out there who get possessed and all of this other stuff. You should always be in control.
There's mediums that get possessed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a couple of TV shows out there where this one guy, he's possessed like every single show, it seems like. And Yeah, it happens.
Bless. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Listeners,
It's entertainment. We're just remembering that it's entertainment. That part's entertainment. That part is
it took a long time for me, though, personally, to move forward.
It would, and opening up. And once you understand, you get to that healing space, there is that trust factor that when we ask for our divine team and whatever and whoever they may be, they do intervene and they do create that space. And I found for me, very similar. When I was doing this full time, I was pulling in a lot of spirits and clients that had loved ones on the other side that were abusive alcoholics, which is, childhood experiences for me. And so it was this opportunity. I used to hold my breath all the time when I would feel those energies coming in, because it felt lower and it felt a bit triggering. When I asked my team to intervene, they always did. But then when I leaned into it further, what was it that they needed to share? And now, when those folks come in, it's like my favorite sessions to do, because I know it's going to be super powerful and super healing, and that I can move through this with ease, right? And
right.
That's also part of it. The intention is in the highest good and most amount of healing for both those in spirit and those here. And for them to come in, I say it all the time, they're coming in to make amends so that they are at rest, so that you can be better here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so true. It's so true.
Mm-hmm. And then you don't get them as much. Then you get the other things, right? It's very rare to just get the grandma that comes in super loving with the yummy butter tarts. It's always about the healing aspect of it, and how you can see how if somebody is extra sensitive and they have that background where they're uncomfortable because they're feeling a frequency that they know makes them uncomfortable, and if they hold their breath and disconnect more, the word demon gets tossed in quickly out of fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so I thought I was getting the revised vision, but it's not. So I have the old copy, apparently. So. I just show everybody, just so you know, if you get onto Amazon tonight during the show, folks, or afterwards, that this is the old copy. So the old version, Dancing with Demons.
If you go on Amazon and search, I think though the newer version does come up on there. So the new version, the only reason why there's two versions is because Haunted Road Media picked it up and published it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is Mike Ricksecker, which we all adore.
Mm-hmm.
He's
great. I just love him.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he's very genuine, and you can feel that. And the spirit art in doing that as well too. Are you able to do that remotely? If remote viewing is part, so tapping and doing that remotely as well too. I love spirit art is, and there's not a lot of people that include that. So I love that you include that with how you're of service and the services that you offer to folks.
Right.
Can you share the podcast, which night it is and what time it's on and where people can find you and what you got going on?
It's on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Tuesday nights at 6. And what else do you want to, what else you got going on?
I have a couple books I'm working on. I'm not really doing anything with any tarot cards or anything like that. I stopped doing that a year ago.
But you're writing your book right now, which is connected to the spirit with the Anna name.
Yes.
So that's something that you're doing right now. So
it's called Tumbleweed on the Line.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'll remember that.
It's a historical fiction, and I'm basically bringing a spirit that I came in connection with back to life.
Love that. For folks that are just meeting you for the first time or do get that book and have that experience, I didn't know your story either until I did a little bit more research and understanding how similar our stories are. What do you hope people will come away with from reading your book or understanding your story?
I want them to walk away with, everybody, mediumship isn't tied to one person with abilities. Some people might have a little bit more abilities that are developed than others, but everybody can tap into this energy if they wanted to. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The second part is, when you're out investigating or you're searching. So anybody out there, you're calling yourself paranormal investigator, or you're just out there doing it for fun on a Friday. At the end of the day, when you really look at it, you're searching for something else.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? So that's what this is really all about. I'd say, don't be afraid of the paranormal. Take back your power, and allow it to kind of guide you a little bit.
Oh, yeah. You feel so confident with the decisions that you're making when you trust how your body's receiving the information and how, like, when you get those, when you do get that guidance and you understand where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
There was now it came and went in my squirrel moment. I had a question sitting right there for you too. You pop into Sean's chat quite a bit into the night.
Yeah.
Too, so it's always nice seeing you when you're in the chat and popping in to see him. So I appreciate you coming on the show tonight and spending time with me and sharing parts of your story. And encouraging people, I think inspiring people to keep going, right? Like that there is a community for us to tap into that is supportive, and we eventually find each other.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so honored, and I'm so happy to have met you.
Oh, thank you. Ditto, very much so. Folks in the chat, it's Dancing with Demons by C.L. Thomas, the Gateway podcast, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m.
Pacific.
Yep. So what is that our time? What time is it there for you? Sorry, I'm not very good with that
time. 9 o'clock your time.
Gotcha. That's almost my bedtime. I curl up with the dogs as fast as I possibly can some nights. I'm so tired. So, but I appreciate you and all that you do, and am very grateful that you are so brave in sharing your story, because it's very hard to do. It was
very, very hard to do.
It's exposing yourself. Yeah. It is exposing yourself. So thank you, everybody that's in the chat. Thank you for hanging out and sharing your thoughts and comments and questions. I appreciate all of you for being here. And thank you to Michelle DeRoche, our network manager. Thank you to Joe Montaldo, our network owner. Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Next week, folks, I have Appalachian Visions. She calls herself Granny Witch, Emily Ann. So she's going to be coming on next week. So have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you back here next Friday at 6:10 Eastern. Good night, everyone. Oh, sorry. You know what? Before we tap out really quick, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. CL has Eerie Expedition magazine as well too, and there is.
I'm so glad she mentioned it, because I forgot to mention it too. Yes, Eerie Expeditions magazine. Yeah. It's all about Eerie travel and legends and folklore. So if you're interested in that, take a look. Our next issue comes out July 15th.
So is it online issue or paper issue that you can?
Both. There's both.
And does it go to Canada, outside of the United States, or United States only?
Unfortunately, I haven't found a printer yet in Canada that will do it. So it would cost a lot of money to send
Yes.
it.
So we have to get our United States friends to send it to us, or a post box in the border
Yes.
towns.
I'm looking for a printer there. I need a printer in England and I need one in Canada.
Okay,
right now.
well, our community needs to get our network working and see what we can find. All right, everybody, good night. Take care.